Yayakuno niatas. I've just started this stream. I'm going live. It is Saturday. This house that I live in is for sale. So there was a showing of this house at the time that the Sacral Saturdays are set. So I wanted to go on and do it anyway, unannounced. There's also a storm rolling in. And the Wi-Fi in Earthships is already kind of spotty because of how the walls are built. So if it just ends, it might be because of that. But I wanted to offer this time to myself and to all of us in one life together. I just recorded a really powerful healing. And I felt like there was energy still streaming out. And so I wanted to offer it in this way. It feels very connected to healing deep, deep grief in the heart space, pain in the heart, heartbreak. Yes, I'm going to leave that in the chat in case my eyes are closed and people come in. Kaya nga iyon to sun himatai kao so ikayo kuno yun to ka hinaya niyom na yom yaya shukaya nama sipayo no kamni hinayo no yum nai Hiyotona yana yanikom nata Hiyao kono mata Sita Shianom niyani Sina wosu kaoshuna Hiono kan sidatui Ita ikayotoa Hiyani ayasu. This came through in the video that I recorded just before this. There's a giant rosemary plant in this indoor planter, and she's calling to us. She's really, really quite powerful. Kiwioto amaya ni tani doyom nukuam. Siti shumzo kana trati. Hiaptana kinani tinimium nyako yatoshumoso saya shuni kana trainat. Kimana sanzo sini shokono matrain. Himatima yaini tu. Shioto kiyosiato. Kimayono tunai. Hitaosu yai. Hyokonama yano. Yoko yosho yosa. Sina yono. Haoshoro. Yai yana. Hamshaya oso. Inayonoto. Inayosona. Kinasuntata. Yana yasota. Iwoso yosha. Inatu yikaya. Sinayo. Amayo no tuma. Iosu yoshoka. Istu kanayani. Imanu yotu. Siwoto kananda usa. Kama umna yayinda. Saya shuna insan. Indaisiosun, hinosun shanayos, sao shun sakinam nu yundu umna, himnaun sokanam nai, sanchayasun, hiyatukum shini, sitosu, siyaya kuno, yandraya tosu yasho. Hitausu nama dayaya tonono ama. Sanikan sion sio. Inisun shinision si. Iatu orkumna. Inis non trota. Shinsatrakum. Si ustosa yashunsa. Focusing very deeply on this area, this heart into the higher heart. Lots of grief, lots of feelings of just deep pain coming through to be released through the lineage, through this incarnation, through held time. Kinakoro kamasuna shumsa kinati. Iti kumaum. Uti paurum nasa. Hinikanta kono yansota. Ropana sani shani kanam nitani. Sinishin sandrayon doin. Sita kunum datosun chinindri kunusum sa. Siniton datamasha. Lots of release coming through. Lots of release available. Hyokunum natrain sokonashim. Unlocking. Hiritiam dasi. Lots of times the codes come through. If you think about like the little mechanisms inside of a big safe, like a bank safe, all these little mechanisms that sort of undo the lock, this is what it looks like, and it's coming through like to undo all of these different layers of dimensionality. Kibayakora yisun sokonasham datrikinitin sininti. The goal is peace. The goal is to rest in the awareness and presence of the self in this now moment, to extend the holy instant, the holy now, into all of awareness. We unburden ourselves from specific results or correlates in the physical reality. We focus on beingness, being happy, being peace, being love. Hikoyotomnish, being deeply, deeply present. Kati konum natu shomo korro kono indis, being in the awareness of our value inherently, not associated with money in the bank, money coming to you. Big lightning flash just then. A message. Tatis humsokotis. Kini kandata kyum dioptoro konat. There's a Japanese word, kaminari, which I think it's like one of their words for thunder, but it means God's call, which I think is so cool. I think that's what it is, something close to that. Kitakunum nishansa kunotru, nis nandrahancha kima ninion, hima nini koyon morum. Disatrato sunjakiata, ininato sunjoro kunoinsa yiso yiso. Shinziri iaki kyotyup turmit, misi tishiko yosundaratisia. This is unraveling expectations of others, feeling like you need other people to understand what you're doing for it to be valuable or worth doing. Unraveling like the need to explain yourself, the need to justify things. Kisha ni somzakuno shumsau shunoin tati kamayo norhurum. And this is like laying on top of releasing this deep grief, these beliefs we have about doing. Kimianiononom ni koma shun jokoribar kiti son tokamatarayin. Sini kunomnati son tokoni shiningriyasin zati shinzogoayot. You might have been like told you were lazy. Kaniansaki nisin sananda shansara hutu konoyan chakoriviti omnai. Sibyo sunsu. Nagging, letting go of like nagging ego voice. Itakoro tisun inisun to gatukononga kaya uyama huma ua oshono insanai sa totsumbo konima undara hinon natrayo konomor kumasantra shukor konasa. Releasing grief related to like feeling like other people know you better than you know yourself or know more about your life or what you should be doing or the manner in which you're doing it. I mean, this really extrapolates out into like the need for more and more credentials and schooling and who is the arbiter of what things are. Hey, Paul! Kiyosaki tayo noti. So good to see you. Shikiani natini amari kini sansata shakasata. Saikini kana sototo amayo shona taraiti amaye sini shini tayenzaki titi tiotokoniti shiritisia. Trusting what comes through for you as legitimate for yourself. It doesn't need to be accepted by specific people. Other people don't get to say its validity. If it doesn't resonate with them, then they can move on and that's up to them. You don't have to bend yourself or try to explain or get people to listen or to understand. And that really unravels in the process of undoing. And in the process of kind of revealing those beliefs that we still have or revealing the wounds to be let go of, that we kind of see all of the places where that's still happening or still connected into our field and into the sort of like people you meet or people that trigger you, or I don't know if that makes sense. I feel like I got off a little the rails. Kinikana ini tana konoyo no ayana misondo kona injeridiot sikiriti hyokono inja kono inzo tamika inikiana. But it's like just to be so happy with what you're doing and the God-given gifts and expressions that come through you and whatever that means for you, whatever you really feel alive doing, what you feel is resonant and important, what you feel like you're meant to sort of offer to the world and to the field, that if it's bringing you joy and if it feels meaningful for you, that you just keep doing it. And it's a lot about undoing connections to how we think that fits in like some kind of societal plan or architecture. Because that's like really, really falling apart now. So we've never been meant to fit into those roles or to smush ourselves or change our genuine expression to fit into those sorts of roles. But now, as those are going by the wayside, really, really powerfully and explosively being dismantled, that we really, really accept within ourselves how much we don't, how much we're not meant to be doing those things, and how much we're meant to just be following our genuine expression. And the more that we trust that, the more that we see the field around us support it. And we really want to see how we're still sort of grasping for approval. The Earthship is really, really interesting. It's a very interesting structure to live in. I think every Earthship is really different because they're all like individually built by the people who are living in them most of the time. That's certainly the way it used to be when they started doing this out here. But you really have to be comfortable with it, almost living outside. It's like living in an aesthetically pleasing cave that has like power and running water. But I was saying in the beginning of the video, the rosemary, I did not plant this, obviously, it's huge, but the rosemary that's here is very beautiful, very healing, and very almost insistent upon supporting us. And I can't sort of separate this presence from the name Rosemary. It's really coming through as this rose lineage of this Mother Mary line, of this Magdalene lineage. Si kaya no yun totis, and it just smells so wonderful. Kita kono no shamudo korkonit. Kini sonso kona na ina kono yomor kunium sani. Siot huruitis yonian sanin di kimatur kinian. Sapta kono yum sa mashorui. Yayo tunondro aya sonso kinan tahia tama. Sindis nishinini amaya kono yonzori parki disnot. Sandaishi saya tosum sona shanandri hamat. Kimonim nonandasa yishin yonso kya. If you guys feel comfortable commenting, I'd really be curious to see how the codes are landing for you and what you're noticing in your field, because I think, they really uniquely land and sort of awaken and inspire individually based on what's going on in your incarnation or your life or your lineage. You don't have to resonate with the messages that I am seeing for them to mean something different for you. Kimayangorko nasanjigini, sikayas sikini kana shotepi sakini in hya yokunamari, horoatasani tiun sokashia. Even sometimes the sounds will be sort of resonant and remind us of things, or they'll sound like different words in different languages, or sort of proto-languages that we then sort of explore into. But I don't believe they're words. Or not words as we would define them. Kinatra kinain. Yokomoamchi. Nice big release. There's iakonanium. Just a big weight, letting ourselves just let that weight go. Mogorikiam nikono toka. Ire toro. I'm really strongly feeling the sort of consciousness of this thunderstorm that's rolling through this area as like a deep cleanse, a deep washing away. You can connect to the elemental consciousness of water, the universal consciousness. Kayan kmosun cha. Animoro. Kawasono timam. Himayani mononchi koyon. Letting yourself be at peace. If nothing comes through when you work with these codes, it doesn't have to. The goal of this work is peace, is to know ourselves as the formless, eternal, divine, and to be in direct presence, and to allow spirit to undo and move through us, understanding it's not our ego is never doing that. So we put the ego aside to allow spirit to, which is our true self, to move through us and to reorchestrate the field into unity. Kimaini konuyun tokomat. Hisanandi hasi shininionto. Matrakoni mai. Sinitin tionin. Sukanayin tiosion cho. Hayakina nisonzoni shondo kinandrai tim dorot. There is a line in the Course in Miracles that I really like and think about a lot when I get kind of distracted by what I think I have to be doing. Complexity is of the ego. Simplicity is of God. Kaya tono miniento konunishom sanat. Kato mom chaninya sun sokum shaka. Mininion shakana ma. Como ama I koyomo ayana. Lots of release available. Nimianiandoku mini nisnandayas. I don't know why it's coming through as like, this might sound kind of gross, but it's kind of coming through as like, what kind of looks like a frog or something. Like, I know the expression frog in your throat is a thing, but it feels like it's deeper. Like it's something coming up that's kind of been blocking or running things. Like something that like just deeply doesn't belong there, that you're kind of just like letting yourself just like regurgitate out of you. Himano kunont, let yourself, kana trot, let yourself purge that. And this isn't about placing blame or like participating with ideas of like oppositional energy being a force outside of yourself that is also not also part of you, but it is understanding that like fear is the stranger, right? Like you are at home always. Fear is the stranger. So we purge this idea of this stranger as our own identity. We let go of that which is not meant for us. We are not meant to be afraid. We are not designed to be afraid. And that is why we feel pain when we allow ourselves to be in fear, because that's not natural to us. Big lightning. Again, if this stream goes out, the internet is not good here in the best of weather. So if I just go away, it's probably because of this storm. Kimayana konotoyom na kaninsi shakarakia diatos o karumna tinein sonchayasu yaturum honom nati kitayotokori bayasun shayana trumnakina. Can you hear? Can you hear the weather? Kinahi sumsokonoin siki shon satosokononda. Hitakorokuma wonsokunin hyokoruku. Letting the release happen. Kinian tokorko mison ya. Kanian saninish ontika. Sokunun chanin disim. Hinium sakum. Accepting that you are healed in truth right now. Healing only takes time when we think about it with our ego, but spirit doesn't use time like we use it. Let spirit use time for you. Kinian sadishon soko nusham sakin sanitato. Indara karkat. Giriti. Roto samjanatrat. I'm sure you guys notice that time is already behaving so much differently in our felt experience. It could be even more so in a really beautiful way, in a deeply present way for ourselves, if we let it. It will probably feel weird at first, right? And let that happen. Be cool with being uncomfortable a little bit and getting used to things resettling. But understand that we don't have to associate that with bad, right? Kiamnatiosot. Nothing is going wrong. Everything is changing. Remember, you are safe. You are safe. You are safe. You are eternally in the mind of God. You have never left. You have never left your home. Your home is in you always. You could not leave. You can believe you can have ideas that you have, and we do, and they feel very real to us, and we've made a world out of them. But that's not the truth. Handrom nitis, let spirit show you, and let spirit change the world through you. Hando kumon dokon tamat. Kimno. Energy coming through in the back, lots in the shoulder, sort of the lower, below the shoulder blades on either side of your spine, I guess, sort of. I know you can't see my hands and my sweatshirt is huge, but back in this area, a lot releasing out. I'm yawning so much. There's so much releasing. Let the release be real for you. Let the release be real in your felt experience. Don't be afraid to let go of what you once thought was your identity. Let the clouds be lifted. Let the clouds be lifted from your mind. The light is come. The light is here. The light is you. Sisan trakanti so. Shiti kaisti. Natri niti kon. Natri. Peace to your mind. Peace to your body. Allow your body to be at peace. Let go of oppositional ideas about your body. Let go of your body as an idea of something that exists outside of your mind. Your body has no processes that you did not make up for it. Sondro contamnish nun. Catratonium da corruptisi. Bring you back into unity through your awareness. Be in deep, deep presence. Korumna tantasi. Sikimian zokoro hinam batit. Thank you for being here. Tasikanian sati. Inin how shumona kina. Humni kanata. Ani. Oh. I'm just going to sit in presence for a moment or two and let things kind of settle. There's a lot that has been releasing. It's important to be in rest. There's no need to overload ourselves with this or with anything. Mm. I think we might end it here. This was just very powerful. It's not necessarily the time that we spend focused on codes or in traditional spaces of healing as we might think of them. You know, like I said, and I feel like this is really relevant, especially as we move through this evolution timeline, that we let go of ideas of time that we hold in ourselves, because spirit doesn't use time like we do. So let spirit show you what can be accomplished in an instant, and understand that it's more about being in the ever present, like the presence of your being, the presence of beingness, no matter what you're doing, rather than um, whatever you might think would be the way for that to come through, like letting that come through in all moments, and bringing your presence of awareness into the being in all moments through all that you do. And really to what I want to commit to, and I offer it as a way, perhaps for you as well, if you feel it in you, if you feel that as resonant in you, to adopt a practice of beauty, of recognizing beauty in yourself, beauty in all that is around you, and recognizing that when you see beauty outwardly, it is because you hold beauty within you, because you hold that concept, because you hold that reality, that you could see and recognize beauty because it is already within you. And allowing, to use that as a moment of unifying unity and expansion. Because when we recognize this idea of namaste, right, we recognize the one life in all things. It's self meeting self, which has incredible consequences for the physical world that we really don't understand, but it does bring us deep peace, which is the goal. So understand the power of recognizing your own beauty reflected in things, you projecting it out, and then you seeing it reflected back towards yourself, and allowing that process to undo false ideas of beauty or attachment that we might have to physical beauty or societal standards or media or social contexts or romantic contexts or whatever. We're trying to get something out of being beautiful, that we understand it more as a creative process and almost a kind of worship, not in the prostrating kind of bowing down sense, but in the expression of life and seeing beauty in all things, because we are beautiful in us. And I think that's a very powerful practice. It's a powerful way to bring ourselves into awareness, into now, and into loving ourselves, because when I started doing this work, something that I really worked through pretty intensely at first was like, what does it even mean to love yourself in this world? And it's little practices like that that really bring real awareness. You must accept beauty for yourself. So much of practice and being in service, um, talks about what you do for other people, or how you see other people, or how you forgive other people. But I think maybe for you guys too, if you're here and you found yourself here listening to me talk, that you might have had struggled with accepting those things for yourself, forgiving yourself, being nicer to yourself, being less harsh to yourself, accepting that which you would offer to others for yourself first, because you can't really see it reflected back towards you unless you are accepting it for yourself from the beingness. Yanayoto tonati. Amen. Thank you. Kiani toyomot. Kiasani shiritis. Before I end, I wanted to ask if anyone has specific intentions that you want to, if you feel comfortable sharing, that you want to bring up into our consciousness so we can clear them or magnify them. Kanayansi, tosom chakana traitiom nini kaninian dasi, and extend in power. O rupaya son jogorekina tomo son chikiasi. But even if you don't say them, I think they will come forward in spirit. So we'll just take a couple minutes with that. Kimayan sokonoin tokana. Nirit uyokonondishirini sondo kamasi. Siniomao shono konondipiantati. Iakianini muti hionayani sonjanandra. Mistatro komni. Nanto umshi insakananti oti. Letting go of attachment to delusions about self as identity. Yes, beautiful. Amplify unconditional love. Amen. Gorgeous. Hinian tamo sham sakanayas. Hindayasumshi tisnandra kin san shantayas. Hanaina yotomaya shuntatayansa. Hio sunshi sa kam datum ni anto kan shantayas nantayas. Yati tio kunam nindrayas nanta sanchikinindis nonto suncha. Saya sunjorotim nat umaya kina moro inis nandrakan yamnayanchum nasindiri hayat huko amayono inda umne india ingayayo kumnian sanayan dayasutoyo sotiat. Lots of energies for forgiveness coming through on that intention. Sipia sonjorotis, dismantling conditions, yes? Kotiuptokotiptium. Oh, courage to feel what is to be felt within. Oh, beautiful. Kyoto nomato sum. Yes, it does take strength to sit with the uncomfortable things that must be brought through. It's almost as if just the light, envisioning that courage being what is kind of pushing it outward into our awareness. And when we see with the eyes of that courage, with the eyes of spirit, that's alchemy. Yes, well, in this world it would be projection. Using that perception, allowing spirit to use your perception to do the alchemizing of what is within, held within. And I would say also, because the ego has this like really dense shell around what the truth actually is, which is our beingness as love, as eternal being, that the lie of that, the deception of the ego is that what's held within that is something that is very evil that we don't want to look at. And so it takes strength and courage also to get through that shell, but also, so it's kind of like coming from all directions, right? If we put ourselves in the presence of our true self, we are seeing from the inside of that shell and extending the spirit, extending love, extending pure source, pure God energy through the shell at the same time that we are looking at the shell. Hard to describe, but I think it can be felt. But yes, it does take courage because it takes a stillness and a courage to let go of everything that we have believed about ourselves, right? And that does take courage in this world, because that's not what everybody's doing. And it can lead to differences in your life that other people might not understand, or the kind of moving through the grief or mourning or detachment process of things that we thought we wanted. And Spirit's not trying to discount that process is something that requires courage, requires strength, requires dedication, and might not be for our present incarnation, our personality selves, easy. It's easy for spirit, it's easy for ourselves in spirit, but we are still in the process of reuniting our identity with spirit. So for us, it can seem difficult. And yes, spirit is there with that courage immediately. That is yourself. That courage is always available to you. And spirit is absolutely offering the strength of that being felt in all moments when you turn your attention to it. It is already within you. Kimiatis, we will bring through energy for assistance of readiness, of it being more readily available to you, moving out of the way, nastiness, what just is coming through as nastiness, nastiness on top. Corrupto yamnatush, o kiminini and dakarakaisa nasho tokonatayanda kumoari kayatas. Doubts. Shianzono toto namatatu korkonta pashakia. Huto korkoama inindi anatrat. Onakonayum yokona traya somja humziritish. Yes, there is always a new. Yes, always, always, always the power to choose again. All is movement. Yes. Kimiandatisit. Every instant is an opportunity to choose love again. To choose again. If in one moment you choose fear, we have forgotten who we are, we choose fear. That does not have any effect on our ability to choose love again in the next moment, because it's always available to us. Oh, I'm so glad you did too, Jill. I was going to close, but I'm glad I stayed on. Yes, choose again. Choose and choose again. Recognize that is your free will power to choose. It is your free will to choose. We are always choosing. Recognize we are always choosing. We do have the capability to choose differently. Even if everything in the physical world would say that we have to choose in certain ways in order to conform, or in order to, because we live, in capitalism, or that we have made survival something that you must earn. We can dismantle that belief from within us. And as I see it, that is so much of what the expressed code is for, because we all know this. That's very distorted. That is the opposite of what life is. You don't need to earn your life. God only gives. God has given it to you eternally. But we don't believe that. And so we must undo those beliefs. And we can, and we do have that power. That is our power. And it is our calling here on earth to choose to see through that illusion into love. I'm so happy. Deep grief. Yes. Jill, the video that I just recorded earlier, I have not posted it yet, but because I was feeling the energy was still flowing, and so I got on live. But the video I'm about to post after we get off of this, I think will be really helpful to you also. But we will pull through energies for this now as well, because that was the intention of coming through this. It felt so much grief, like so much, and grief that hides ourself from us. We don't feel safe to express because of this sadness that we almost wear we become too comfortable with, yes? Or as Mellow Beat said, that we don't want to feel, right? The courage to feel what is to be felt within, that we don't want to feel this, that could be because it's uncomfortable and we don't want it and we want to be happy, or that we feel like entertaining it in any way might be bad for us. I think it's really important to let go of this, of good and bad when it comes to emotions or feelings, excuse me, or even beliefs, because we don't want to, they're either true or false. The true is love. Everything that's not aligned with that, with eternal life and love, is the false. And so it's merely false. It's merely an illusion. So we sort of allow that wisdom to undo some of this grief. But don't feel like sitting in it is, I don't want to get this confused with perpetuating illusion. I hope you know what I mean. We must let it kind of ooze out and recognize and let ourselves kind of be uncomfortable and recognize maybe a lot of the grief that we're feeling is perpetuating because we don't allow ourselves to actually feel it and recognize it and let it go. There's also just that different people, we're all uniquely coded here, right? So different people are holding different combinations of code in the field that hold connections to different timelines, different histories, different lineages, and different distortions in the ego's record of time that hold perhaps, different people feel different things, if that makes sense. So if you're resonating with feeling deep grief, it could be because you are holding a lot of code for a lineage that has deeply suffered incredible distortion. And I know that if you resonate deeply with, healing divine feminine, and you don't have to be a woman for this, but if you're a deeply creative person and if you're working through truly aligned creativity in love, that there's a lot of grief around that. There's this whole archetype of and Radiohead is one of my favorite bands, and this sort of grief and sadness that comes through when listening to that is an alchemical sort of thing, right? And I think a lot of that is this sort of transmutation of grief on the creative process and on that subjugated feminine energy, because we put so much focus on creation as outside of ourselves, as a process of action, and we have negated the legitimacy of the internal. So I feel like there's some of that coming through. I hope that resonates, but there's also a lot that is sort of deeply releasing right now that's kind of coming. Hiniana orum nain sokono shamza hiningayana kono maorum ni kenishin dokoroitis. It's very important to remember you don't go alone. I think it's really, really important to remember. So much of why we're afraid to look is because we think that we're looking alone, but you're not doing it alone. You're not alone. You can't do it alone. There's no such thing as being alone. And so when you open first, before you go in to deeply investigate or to expose with the light, because you go with the light to expose the darkness, that you feel and that you believe in the presence of God, source, creator, or whatever guidance system that you feel connected to, beings of enlightenment, beings of ascended consciousness, that you feel their presence and that you see, sense, feel them go with you through the clouds to get to the truth that's beyond the clouds that we've covered up. We're not walking alone. So whoever you envision to be with you, everyone is with you. We share one life, but who you feel safe with, who you, really, really resonate with, that I think it's a really nice practice to, and that could be beingness. It doesn't always come across as a personality consciousness to me. Very often it just feels like the beingness field, but sometimes that can feel kind of abstract to people. So we do use our guides. And however that comes to you, that you sort of imagine yourself walking together. So it doesn't feel as scary because you are with beings who have done it before and they have come out the other side. And then you know you can as well. Hini kanain jokonim nison zokonish a kanandraino konuyum sikaya shum. Sipa orkonain da konuyun dokuna. Sikinati tikimi inso kono injani soto kanatriyama oya kiarikai. Is datini nian chanindri kimi andokoro kondayasa. Siti kayashun sondre kayanam na in. Ini kanamda uso shokima asyataya. Kinindatum norm. Thank you. It comes through. And I think it's like all of the books I've ever read. Also. Kiera karkoma konomi kanandati kanishiningi siki iti kiata kaisi simzoru yishungonia sikima sanzakarati sanja sukuyapia kanandri kana insakiti sinjiri hinkoyo konam natini indikari kayason orkoritis nishandatri kanyandi. And I feel like also like opening yourself to spirit and like trusting that spirit leads us and spirit guides us and we're never walking alone. Like if I had to sit and write like a plan for what my videos would be, if I had to write like an outline for things I wanted to say, that would make me so anxious. I never do that. I don't prepare any of the material. I feel it. And then the sort of the support for it in language just kind of comes through. But language has some, just in my own personal self on earth, has always been a deep interest of mine. I studied speech language pathology in college, and I've always been like an avid reader. I've worked in the book business for like a decade. I love the expression through spoken and written word. Kimayani kono uyanko Kipiontas natrain. Natra non tokonia shi sokonotina yakinitisi. Sometimes I sing if it comes through as such. I don't sing like I sing sort of to myself in the car and around my house, I guess, but I don't sing like as part of my music project or anything like that. Maybe I should. I've thought about how cool it might be to get like a microphone and put your voice through like effect pedals. I think that could be cool. Could probably just do that on Logic also. But thank you. Okay, I think I might end it here. I want to thank everyone so much for all of your beautiful comments and your intentions and your questions and just spending this time with me. I think I will do it. We'll see how it sounds. I'm really into like the music that I make. I have a noise sort of experimental sort of ambient project called Suonoma that is separate from the light language trance meditations, and it gets kind of freaky. So maybe I'll do it there. So yes, I hope you guys all have such a beautiful evening or day wherever you are in the world, and just a very nice weekend. And remember to take care of yourself. Don't pressure yourself to do things in the physical if you don't feel like it, because I don't think there's anything helpful that will come out of forcing yourself to do things at this time. I saw someone else on YouTube say this, and I felt it very deeply, and I don't usually remember what comes through in the videos afterwards, but presence, just being in presence right now as we move through these incredible shifts. Don't cling to anything in the physical. Don't cling to doing. Don't cling to producing, even if we think it's creative. Just letting yourself be and letting that be enough. Letting the beingness and the presence and the awareness just be enough. And, earlier, I think there was a message that came through about being in the sort of the presence of the life of your body, the life of the field, there's the life of all of the atoms and like subatomic particles around you, all of the currents of life, of the elemental forces, of consciousness bodies in space, like just taking, like that is a useful use of your time to recognize your life in all of those forces, because they are you also. Oh, it's midnight in Germany. Well, good night. I hope that you sleep well. Hopefully this helps. And I'll see you guys next time. I'll try to go on live when I have said that the times will be, but it's kind of hard because this house is for sale and I am sort of at the mercy of when it gets shown. And Saturdays, I guess, are a time when people are free to look. So I might try to go on live more often. This was really fun. So I hope you guys have a great day, and thank you again.